This video is about habit change. So whatever habit you have, gambling habit, smoking, wasting too much time of watching useless videos or listening just music, or lazy to get up in the morning, lazy to go to bed early, eating unhealthy food, smoking, drinking, all these habits, shopping, shopaholic. So if you want to change your habit, and let's say you try to change, for example, go to the gym and you went there for a few days and then you never go back again, why is it? So if you really want to be successful in getting rid of some addictions, or just more generally changing your habits, you have to understand how it works. Because most people, they just think that, okay, then I make a decision, I quit smoking, but of course most of the people will start to smoke again. The same with the gym. I promise, or I want to lose weight, and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks you do it, but then you give up. So what is the reason? Understand that changing a habit is an emergent property of many things. So it's not about one cause that I make a decision mentally and then I suddenly change my whole life and it will change forever. No, it's not. It's a system. You have to think in a system. So you have friends. This is the environment, a social environment. Your friends influences your decisions. If you want to lose weight, but all of your friends go together to restaurants, then probably you will go with them and eat the same food, the unhealthy food, and then you will not lose weight. So be aware of the social environment. And then there is a physical environment. Let's say that easy availability of the things that you want. Let's say that from work to home there is a shop where you can buy ice cream. And when you are tired, you will buy the ice cream if you like ice cream, and it becomes a habit and you cannot really change because the temptation is there every day when you go home and you cannot resist. But let's say if there is no ice cream in your way, you cannot buy ice cream, then it's much easier. So there is a physical component and a social component. So understand this, that you exist in an environment, physical and social environment, and this environment influences your decisions. It's one component. Okay. The next is emotional state. Most of the addiction has an emotional component. We have instant gratification, which means that we want to feel good at this moment at the price of our future. Or we don't want to feel bad at this moment. Let's say we have a stomach ache, so we take the quick solution and then everything goes away. The price is our future because we didn't train our body and our immune system to handle the problem. Okay? So there is an emotional component that we want to feel better at this moment. Okay? And there is an intellectual component that this is what we are fighting. That's why it's so difficult to quit an addiction and change the habit, because we are not one person. One is that we are not one person, that different elements of the brain, different regions, different neuron groups are responsible for different things, and they fight for attention and energy, and they want to control. So one part of the brain, the frontal cortex, say that, hey, do this because it's good for your future, but the emotional aspect of our brain will tell that, no, do this because it's great and I want to do this. So we are not one person, we are an interacting creature of many, many different components, brain regions, neurons, and something emerges. Sometimes this part of the brain gets the control, sometimes others. And at the same time, we are not one person in the sense that we are not a fixed person. We have always different physiological state, emotional state, and intellectual state. So we go through anger, cold, hungry, tired, curious, bored. We are different, and each state, emotional, intellectual, and physical, have different preferences. So let's say when everything is great, then of course you can promise yourself that when I go home I will not buy the chocolate. At that state you are really serious, because let's say the frontal lobe of your brain controls the future planning, and at this moment you are not hungry, you feel full, you feel happy. But when you walk past the shop, you are a different person. You are not the same person. Your heart rate is different hormones circulate, maybe you are hungry, maybe you feel unhappy what happened in the office. You are a total different person, different priorities, and it's so easy to say that, okay, I have to feel good, and it's just one time, okay, one ice cream doesn't mean anything. So that different person will make a different decision. Okay, so one person who cares about your future will disappear. It's like multiple personality. That person doesn't exist at the moment when you are weak and when you are in bad physical state, let's say too hungry, too tired, in bad emotional state, let's say very upset and worried and afraid. Then the rational mind will agree that, okay, you need to feel better, eat the chocolate, eat the ice cream, smoke the cigarette, take the drug, drink the alcohol, or play more on the game. Okay, you can stay up later, or don't get up in the morning, or I just buy this one clothes, I want to spend the money, I feel good. Okay, so we are not one person, we go through different states, and we have different brain regions that fight for attention and control. So this is the individual aspect. We were talking about the social and environmental aspect. And the next element of successfully changing a habit, understanding the process of change. So it is not something I make a decision and from that on it will happen, because all of these forces that I was talking about are there. So intellectually you have to understand the process. You have to know that at the beginning you will agree with a lot of great things, and you have to know yourself that there will be internal and external forces that will help you or hinder you to achieve this one. You know that people will influence you. So if you set up a social group, that's why like AA, there are group therapies. They go there and people support each other. So change the people around you that will influence towards the way that you want to be influenced, and you want to change your habit, and get rid of the people who do otherwise, that they invite you to the restaurant where you will eat the junk food. Okay, so you have to set up the environment in which you will exist. You have to take care always of your emotion. Don't put yourself on an emotional prevent. When you know that, oh, if I do this, I will be angry, and when I'm angry, I will do the things that I don't want to do. So you have to proactively prevent yourself to get into that state. So this is the theory. Understand this, that in a certain emotional state we are weak, in certain physical state or different environment we are weak. So understand the theory that you cannot just make one decision and keep it, but many things influences your moment by moment decisions, and you have to prepare for this. For example, create an environment at home when you don't have any junk food, because if you don't have junk food, probably you will not go out at midnight to buy the things you want, maybe, but maybe not. So it's more difficult to do, and this kind of desire that you want to do something like shopping, it's a wave, it's an emotion. Be aware of this. It's also an element of understanding the concept of how to change habit. There are waves. So there is a wave to do impulsively what you used to do, your addiction and the habit that you don't want, but it will go away. So everything is coming and going. So if you are aware of this, then you can prepare that, okay, I feel that I want to buy these clothes. Even if I have 100 clothes in the wardrobe at home, I want this because it feels good and it's so beautiful. Be aware of this and have a process that I know that this is just one region of the brain saying this to me in this hormonal state after this bad experience with my friends or in the family or in the office. Be aware that this kind of wave will come, and when it comes and the things are available around you, for example the junk food, then you are weak. We are all weak. We cannot resist. So if you create this understanding, that study this, and of course people say that you need 21 days, 28 days, 60 days to change a habit, is bullshit. It's for, think about this, it's forever. So you can always be temporarily successful, maybe it lasts until your end of the life, but when you had a habit, it can come back. Of course it will be less and less, but you have to be aware that it can come back. And that's why, for example, it's very clear that alcoholics, if they are sober for 2 years, but one time they drink, maybe that one drink will put them back to the old habits. So these habits don't die. We can replace them with another habits, but it's still there in different layers. So that was your first habit. You created another habit that if you focus for a long time enough, it becomes more automatic. So you automatically do the right things, but not always. When the situations are very bad or something activates your past mindset and preferences and value system, then you will go back to the old one. It's like with dementia, the mental disease that people forget things. You can think about this, that we have different layers, and sometimes you totally forget that who is this person. Let's say you have a son and you forget who is this person, but next time you remember. The same with habits. So it's changing. It's mentally. So sometimes the old habit is inactive, and the new habits, let's say the good new habits, works, but the old can come back. Be aware of this. And also the process, that how much energy you need to keep the new habits. It's very difficult. At the very beginning, it's very easy because you are enthusiastic. Oh, I go to the gym, I pay for 1 year. And of course, in the gym, they know this. That's why they force you to pay for a long time, because they have the statistics that most people, after 1 or 2 times, they will never come. So it's a good business for them that pay for 1 year, because they know how people behave and how people think. So create an environment. Always, moment by moment, take care of your state, the physical, emotional, and intellectual state. Understand how habit works. That is, we at the beginning, we are enthusiastic, then it becomes very, very difficult, because we have the, especially for some kind of bad habits that have the physiological components, like the nicotine, hunger, or drug addiction. So there is a physical components more, not just the neurotransmitters, but maybe more elements is included. Okay, and understand this also, the theory that we have a lot of association. So something can trigger a desire. And it's very interesting that sometimes habits, when you change the environment, the old habits disappear. So maybe in this situation, you were a shopaholic. You went to buy useless things. But you moved to a new city and you don't have this anymore. Because, understand this, habits are emergent. So there are many things interact together and then you have the habits, or you changed for the new habits. But if one of the elements is not there anymore, maybe the old habit disappears automatically without any effort. But it also can be that you have a new habit and one of the components in the system that creates this new habit maybe disappears and you go back to the old habit. So there are many components that I mentioned. They interact with each other and each of them are very important. Each of them is very important in the emergence. And if you change one component, you can get a new emergent. And that's why it is possible to change habits. And it's always possible to change back to old habits. Because habits are emergent of many components, external, internal. And when you have the theoretical knowledge and you have the good processes, procedure, how to prevent getting back to the old habits, if you understand these emergent properties of habits, then you have much more control, but never 100%. You can increase the power that you will be able to succeed for a long time in the new habits that you want, but there is no guarantee that it will last forever, because the old habits can come back when those elements that creates the old habits became active, or some element from the new habit disappears. And it can be just an environment, whether there is a shop on your way or there is no shop, or whether you get upset or you don't get upset. So each of them is a component. None of them itself cause a habit or habit change, but all together, and some, if it's not there, the whole emergent will be different, the whole habit will be different.